This is my deepest, darkest secret that I've kept for years.
Okay.
I've never even told my therapist.
Gotcha.
Welcome to Guys We
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Where you been? Drink some water. Remember, there's a solar eclipse happening April 8th. Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
It's the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show.
Los
if you're in Los
Angeles.
Angeles.
Los Angeles, what the fuck are you doing Saturday, May 11th at 9:45 p.m.? I know you're going to see Corinne Fisher and Krystyna Hutchinson do a live episode of Guys We Fucked.
There you go. Look at, you just made Christina damage her voice doing
Yeah,
that.
I exercised the demon.
Wow.
Just so you could tell you to buy tickets.
Netflix's Joke Festival, Saturday,
They'll make
May
some
11th, 9:45 p.m. at the Regent Theater. We're going to be there.
You know who's going to be a joke if you don't get tickets? We are. So
Exactly.
Don't let that happen.
Don't let that happen. We're on thin ice with Netflix. They've made it very clear.
They have a lot of power.
They said, we'll throw you bitches a bone and let's see how you do with that.
We're like,
Chew on the bone.
Okay.
Yeah, we said, we love bones.
I love bones, Daddy. Thank you. I've been waiting for a bone my whole life. I can't get a bone by myself. I need it.
okay.
If you want to send us an email, it's sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com. This email says, did I molest my brother and my cousin? I love this show.
We'll be the judge of that.
I love this show. It's such a lighthearted show.
Yeah.
Hi, Corinne and Christina. I love you both very much and have listened to you for years. Thank you for everything you've put out into the world and how much it's helped me understand myself and the world around me. I made it like that. It didn't need to be. Y'all are the best. So I'm concerned that I molested my brother and my cousin.
Okay. Just another Monday, baby. Let's go. Let's figure it out.
This is my deepest, darkest secret that I've kept for years.
Okay.
I've never even told my therapist.
Gotta tell your therapist.
That was that's been a waste of your therapy.
Yeah.
I know. Why pay a therapist if you're not going to tell them everything?
She already hears us in her head.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally wasting everyone's money and time.
Yeah.
I just like logistically.
This should be the only thing you're talking about in therapy until you get through it.
Yes. Honestly, I've just been too ashamed. So
I'll
you
tell
can
these
tell
two
us
whores
and everyone listening to the show.
Yeah.
It's taken me. Well, there is this thing where, especially when you've been with your therapist for a long time, like you do want them to like you or respect you. Yeah. It's weird. Honestly, I've just been too ashamed. It's taken me years to even write this email.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you wrote it.
I think I'm ready to share with my therapist, but I also would really appreciate both of your perspectives on this issue because I trust you both to tell me the honest truth. My brother and I have a large age gap. I'm 9 years older than him. When he was around 4 and I was around 13, we were on vacation, and a few times when we were playing together, somehow on our own, we ended up on top of each other in a bed, rubbing up against each other. It makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. I guess we were kind of humping and it felt good. And that was really the extent of it. We were in a bed rubbing against each other and it felt good.
That's what kids do.
Well, 13's a little old for this, though.
I guess so.
I don't remember how exactly this happened, but it must have stemmed from me since I was the older sibling.
Yeah.
I was just learning about sex, and I assume I wanted to experiment. I want to mention that I was a very late bloomer when it came to sex. I went to a fairly religious school growing up and wasn't even given a sex talk until I was in 8th grade.
Well, that's some people never get the sex talk, so
I
that's
think a lot of people never get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this event happened a few years before that. What? How?
So the rubbing of the brother.
No, but she was 13. So how did that happen a few years before that? It can't be a few years unless you're 8th grade and 13, or you're like, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, right.
You're
How old are
13
you?
in the 8th grade.
Right. Because you turned 12 in 7th grade. I remember I turned 12 in 7th grade.
Yeah. I mean, at the most you would be 14 in the 8th grade. Anyway. I remember that as it was happening, I knew it was wrong, but I definitely didn't fully realize what I was doing.
Yeah, you didn't know that there was like a power dynamic going on because your brain wasn't mature enough to understand that, I imagine.
I think we maybe were playing house or something. House is where shit would go.
Do you know how slutty, how much of a whore 7-year-old Christina was like,
house
hey,
was
Mr.
rancid.
Neighbor, let's play house.
Yeah.
We would play this game called Boy Girl.
Yeah.
And we would get on, my friend who was a year older than me, we would get on his mom's like exercise bike, and we would like, on the Titanic when Leo's like holding her from behind, like he would do that. And I'm like, it was the most alive I've ever felt.
Yeah, no fucking game is the game of playing house when you are young is more disgusting than any porn you will ever watch as an adult.
I concur.
House is where it's at.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the seat now. Okay. I think we were maybe playing.
So don't worry, girl.
It's also funny to grow up and know what it's actually like to live in a house. And you're like, it's not nearly as kinky as I had hoped.
My imaginary house was way more fun.
Yo, I really wish. Okay. All right, so I think we were maybe playing house or something, and then we wanted to make a baby, and I had maybe recently learned that this is how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, to be honest. A lot of this memory is fuzzy / hard to remember. All I know is that this happened a few times, and then one time my brother asked me to kiss him, and I remember a light bulb going off in my head that this was weird, and then we never did it again.
Good.
Even though he asked if we could play this specific game together. Because it made
I don't think
him
he was
feel,
registering it as, was he registering it as sexual?
No, I think he was registering it as this makes me feel good.
Right.
In a way I can't explain because I'm 4.
Right.
And I like feeling good. I am 4.
Yeah.
That's I think as far as it went.
The trajectory.
But yeah, I mean, it's good that you stopped that because you don't want your brother to associate feeling good in the way that he did with a sibling.
Yeah.
I feel so ashamed about this though, because I also remember that this is when I realized that rubbing against somebody, something / someone felt good. And it's disgusting to me that I figured this out while experimenting with my little brother.
It happens.
And then when we got back to vacation, I remember hanging out with my cousin, female, who is 3 years younger than me. And I asked her if she wanted to play the same game. And the same thing happened a few times. We rubbed against each other and I remember it felt good, but after a few times we stopped doing it. I think I figured out that my brother wasn't the right person to be doing this with, but I was still curious and it felt good. So I thought maybe my cousin would be interested in playing this, in quotes, game. My cousin and I are very close now, so I've been considering talking to her about it and seeing what she remembers. I mean, my first thing was going to be like, hey, how about you talk to the people that this happened with first?
Yeah, because odds are they might not even, it might not even be a blip on their radar.
Yeah.
And you've been so ashamed of this for your whole life.
Yeah.
Think of all that energy you could have fucking saved.
Yeah.
You know?
That one bothers me a little less because we're closer in age and both females.
Right.
So I feel like maybe that could be considered childhood experimentation, but my brother and I are 9 years apart. So I feel like a fucking predator. I was the older child who should have known better and known this was wrong. Yeah, again, and all your energy is also going towards self if you want to talk about it. So you're having this whole monologue. I feel so guilty. Me. Just fucking check in with the person who you think you're scared you would have affected immediately.
Yeah, because maybe you'll find out there was no damage done.
Yeah, that's the immediate thing to do. I was the older child who should have known better and known this was wrong. Also, to clarify, these situations were always with clothes on, but in a bed, kind of dry humping because it felt good.
I did that a lot of my childhood. I just,
And then she puts in parentheses, gross. You might ask some questions about my parents. They definitely didn't know this happened. My mom has severe anxiety and my dad is pretty emotionally distant and they never really gave me a sex talk. That's unfortunate, but none of that really matters here.
Yeah.
Other than making me feel like sex was wrong and we shouldn't talk about it. That's relevant.
Healthy.
So I got most of my, quote, sex education from friends and TV movies until 8th grade when my school gave me a sex talk. Okay. Also, all this over explaining, you feel so guilty about it that you're like, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. And once you get rid of this guilt, I think I don't know how your life is right now, but I feel like it'll get a lot better.
Yeah. Although that talk was steeped in religious bullshit and abstinence messaging, so it wasn't really that informative other than shaming us deeper into thinking sex was wrong. So my questions are, did I molest my brother?
Nah.
Did I molest my cousin?
Nah.
Am I a predator?
Nope.
And what should I do about this?
Talk to the people you affected.
Do I need to talk to my cousin, my brother? I know I need to tell my therapist, but I'm scared about the repercussions, aka how she'll judge me. It's therapy.
Yeah, okay.
If you're
judging yourself too much,
you have to be your fucking self, and that includes being good and bad. Like honestly, you're wasting. You want to feel guilty about something? Feel guilty about you're wasting you and your therapist's time.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts as two people I trust and are willing to discuss these taboo topics. Thank you for everything you do. Sincerely, did I molest my brother?
It's so funny. We've been doing this show so long that I'm like, this is not a taboo to me in any way.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about a while back, like Lena Dunham wrote a book, a memoir, I think maybe. And then she was talking about like being experimental, like sexually, but kind of in quotes. Cause it's like, kids don't really know about sex, but they know exactly what Corinne said. Like when you rub your body against something, it feels good. A child doesn't have the social wherewithal to go, that's wrong. We don't have have shame yet. It's about to get embedded in us, but it's not there yet. So we're kind of freely expressing it, which is like, this is a beautiful thing, you know? But I remember when Lena Dunham wrote that book about, and she was talking about her little sister, people were like, Lena Dunham's a predator. It's like, no, she's fucking not. Child sexual experimentation. I don't even know if I want to call it that, but like, this what a lot of kids do it. And I think that, like I had a friend who was a year older than me that I would do it with. We played a couple hot games of house, many times. And then I remember a girlfriend of mine that was similar. I mean, I was like 8. I remember one year I asked her if I could like scratch her butt, because that's what me and the other kid were doing. Like, you know, like just like nice, like tickle. And she was like, okay. And then I did it. And then there was a period where I felt guilty about that. And then I was like, wait, you didn't do it. It's okay. It's like, it's fine. It's okay.
You scratched your butt.
I scratched your butt.
And you go on to scratch many more butts.
Yeah, I love getting my butt scratched.
So, I mean, me personally, my thoughts on this are, okay, let's start out with you're not a bad person. And I think that's something you've been grappling with a bit.
Yeah.
Do I think you did something wrong? Actually, I do. 13, unless you have a developmental disability, I do think that you should know not to dry hump a 4-year-old. Call me crazy. But that being said,
I wonder if they were wrestling, because like siblings wrestle with each other all the time.
No,
like,
I mean, this is pretty specific. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And I think that's why you feel this immense guilt, because I think you know, and I think you knew then, and that's why you stopped when your brother started responding, right? Do I think this is something you can't come back from, something you can't heal, something you can't both heal from? Do I think it's something that has damaged him long term? No. No to all those things. Do I think you did something wrong when you were 13 and you should have, and you knew better on the time and you continued doing it because it made you feel good? Yes. Do I think you are a bad person? Do I think you're a predator? No,
you're not a pedophile.
I think you fucked up, and you're continuing to fuck up by ruminating on this instead of taking the steps to heal and to have the conversation with both your brother and your cousin. I agree. I'm less concerned about the cousin one. Although I think your rationalization of the fact that you're both women making it okay, I think that is that actually like societally we
damaging.
trick ourselves into that when in the, you know, gay community, there's a lot of same, sex issues going on.
Oh, also, we've
don't
had
let
our
that trick
tits
you.
grabbed by women who wanted to take photos with us.
Doesn't make it better. Let me tell you.
Never had a guy do that. So,
so yeah, I mean, I just say, immediately move forward and have these conversations. I think if you're going to feel guilty about anything, like, feel guilty about so you're not letting people heal because you're worried about what your therapist thinks of you. That's the grossest part of this email to me.
Yes.
It's not the fucking dry humping the 4-year-old. Yeah, you made a mistake when you were 13. Was that inappropriate? Do I think you should have known better at 13? Yeah, because you know how I rationalize in my head though? A 13-year-old would be hired and left to babysit a 4-year-old. That
really?
to me is what, yes, 100%. That I think a 12-year-old would be.
I guess so.
And so to me, it's like, you're a teenager. You really should be, some 13-year-olds or many 13-year-olds are actively participating in sex, And I know you didn't know, and I know you're religious, and that's fine. Again, this blame game, this guilt, it's a waste of everybody's fucking time and energy at this point. And that's the part that's kind of pissing me off about this. Do the work to heal and to make sure everyone that you fear you affected is okay. Because right now you're in a place where
punishing yourself.
And it's also so me. That's the gross part about it is the me. Okay. All right. You felt whatever you felt. Move fucking forward. Have these responsible adult conversations with your brother and your cousin and your therapist, and let's heal these wounds. That's the end of it. You're not a bad person for the rest of your life. You're not a predator. You don't need to put yourself on a list. This is so fucking dramatic.
Yeah.
Just do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a little bit of an air of not romanticizing the guilt a little bit, but like dancing with it a little too tightly.
Oh my God. This has probably been your whole fucking identity at this point. And closet predator.
Yeah. And you've not told anybody about it except us and now the world.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes. It's okay. You're not a bad person.
Nope.
You made a mistake. We all make mistakes. We all do things that are not great.
You know what bad people don't do? They don't ponder whether they're a good or bad person. So there's one sign.
Yeah, no, the romanticizing for sure.
But yeah, after you come see us in Los Angeles, before that technically, if you're in Springfield, Missouri, I'm headlining the Blue Room Comedy Club March 22nd and 23rd for 4 shows total. My debut stand-up album, Good Girl Barbara, is now available for you to listen for free on Spotify, or you can buy it if you want. But what I really love is if you signed up for my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson. And for $5 a month, you can hear my group Zoom therapy. Well, it's therapy because I'm not a licensed therapist. list. But I host them once a week and I upload the audio, and it's really cool. People just get to the point, and there's no small talk, and I really appreciate it. And I always leave these Zooms feeling better about humanity, which is, there's not a lot of things in my life that make me feel better about humanity, but these Zooms are one of them. So I would love it if you signed up. Patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson.
And if you want to listen to my solo podcast, it's Without a Country. We talk about the news in an accessible way, right? I think like sometimes we think about the only accessible news, meaning using words that we can actually understand, not high-end political jargon, is Fox News. And I think that's unfortunate. But I do think that they have seen success because their news is accessible. You don't have to have a college degree. And I think that's a good thing. We don't need the news to be elite. We need everyone to be able to access it. And that's what I'm trying to do with Without a Country podcast. So listen to that on Wednesdays. It comes out on YouTube, on the Without a Country podcast YouTube channel, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts. And then my stand-up tour, Eye of the Tiger Tour 2024, featuring Chloe LeBranch. I am doing a 14-city stand-up tour. It's all new material. I repurpose like a couple of jokes that you might have heard before, but overall like a really new hour. And it's fun, and I'm proud of it. And I think you're gonna have a fucking great time. A lot of these are one-nighters, so buy your tickets now, okay? I'm doing like one-nighters because I just don't need to spend a weekend in Tampa, if we're being quite honest, okay? So these are the cities I'm going to. Starting April 17th with Tampa, Florida, Miami, Florida, April 18th, Atlanta, Georgia, April 19th and 20th, Columbus, Ohio at the Funny Bone. Excited to be back. April 25th, Raleigh, North Carolina, April 30th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, May 1st, Boston, Massachusetts, May 2nd, Portland, Oregon, May 14th, San Francisco, California, May 15th, Sacramento, California, May 16th, Seattle, Washington, May 17th, Houston, Texas, June 27th, Austin, Texas, June 28th and 29th, and Salt Lake City, Utah. You are starting out my birthday weekend on September 26th. So fucking bring it. Fucking bring it.
Bring it.
Don't be sleepyheads like LA was this past year, because I'm fucking still mad at them about that shit. Salt Lake City, I love you, and that's why I feel comfortable starting my birthday weekend with you. But buy those tickets now.
I love Salt Lake City because
I love Wise Guys.
The Mormons are fucking wild. The ex-Mormons,
the ex-Mormons.
The ex-Mormons are even more wild, and you're like, this is very fun.
Yeah,
this is very fun.
It is very fun.
I wanted to get your opinion on this Instagram post. It's from Jake Woodard. It sounds like I'm saying Wooder, and I'm from PA.
Wooder.
I want to shout out his handle. It's _Jake, WOODARD. His bio says, helping nice guys, in quotes, discover their masculine edge and enhance their relationship with women. And then he also says marriage, family, traditional values. And, we know what that's code for.
Go to the kitchen.
But I'm curious what you thought, because I'm like, some of these dating coaches, I'm like, they'll say things that I'm like, oh, you fucking backwards ass. And then sometimes they'll say things that I'm like, I don't think that's backwards. I actually think I agree with it.
You're like, yeah, sometimes people say things, they're like, I don't want it to be true, but I fucking know it is. And I know if you want to succeed in dating, you got to do these things.
Right. So this guy, Jake says, it's a man's responsibility in the relationship to protect his woman's femininity. He does this by removing the masculine responsibilities from her as much as possible. When a woman is loaded down with too many decisions, tasks, work, and leading, it pushes her to be more masculine. Being a strong man who leads the relationship, that part I don't like, you create an environment for her to thrive in her femininity by protecting her from being masculinized. Oh shit.
I mean, what I think about that is I think if you that's a way for, what's his name?
Jake Woodard.
For Jake not to have a wife who's a bitch. Yeah, I think if you want a wife who's not going to act like a bitch because she's stressed out, yes, that's accurate. Do I think it's necessarily you have like no. Yeah, and a lot of things, those things in there that's like, I like doing a lot of those things.
Totally. And I do find myself like loving when I feel the most I'll feel very feminine in my relationship at certain times. And I love it. And then he says it's a woman's responsibility in the relationship to be a place of peace for her man. She does this by being a soft, warm place for him to land when he is done fighting the battles of his day. When a man is constantly being challenged and criticized by his woman, it pushes him away and causes him to lose attraction. I mean, no one likes to be constantly criticized. It's awful. It chips away at you. But being a soft, feminine woman who nurtures her man, it's like, okay, this is where you lost me, Jake, and shows him respect and appreciation. You create an environment for him to love and cherish you deeply.
Okay, so do I think this would work and make a man like you? Yes. Do I think ultimately a modern woman would be happy by following these rules? No, I certainly wouldn't. Yeah, I mean that's a little skewed for me because again, when we were talking about the Getting to I Do book, a lot of those concepts and things that are just inherently true for a lot of women and a lot of men, or the feminine role and the masculine role, I do agree with. And that is part of the dynamic.
Totally.
But what I think more so is not that the woman has to play one role and the man has to play one role. What I agree with that I don't think Jake would agree with is that you just have to decide who's playing what role and then stick to those roles. I agree you can't both try to constantly butt heads and be the masculine, but I also think that if the woman wants to be the masculine and the man wants to take the more feminine role, that's fine as long as you have agreed upon that.
Yeah.
And then again, of course, there's my favorite, which is more challenging, but I've found people that it does work with, which is the people who can
switch.
flip.
Yeah.
Because I that's where I really am my best self when I can flip.
That makes the most sense because everybody, regardless of your gender, has a masculine side and a feminine side. There's so many times where I feel very manly and I fucking love it. If I'm working on a car, I haven't done that in a while, but when I drove the Mustang, honestly, I felt like a fucking dude, but in a great way. It brought out my masculine side to me that I loved it so much.
Yeah, because for me, even though I feel masculine a lot, it doesn't make me feel like a man. It makes me feel like a powerful woman, and that's also isn't that kind of unfortunate ingrained misogyny in and of itself, right? To feel we associate feeling powerful with feeling masculine like that. I don't think that needs to be so. Yeah. And I mean, obviously I know how to feel powerful in the feminine, but a lot of times that is intertwined with sexuality. And I wish it didn't have to be, you know?
Me too. I
don't know. Well, also we'll do an internet theme today. So there, I've talked about her before. She's the Slumflower on.
I love her.
Yeah. On Instagram. She's host of the Slumflower Hour podcast. One of my favorite just feminists and podcasters. And so she did a speech at Oxford University that she posted online, and I wanted to play this. Should we hook this in via Bluetooth, Eric?
Yeah.
I was going to do it myself, but then I was like, there's no transcription here, and I'm not going to sit here and transcribe the whole thing. And she has also such a beautiful accent that we should just listen to her say it.
Yeah, if you do the roadcaster.
All right. I just want to make sure this is not too loud.
Let me know when you're...
All right, I'm connecting. Okay, connected to, let's see, Bluetooth. Is it recognizing it? Okay, didn't. Let's see.
Or if you want to send me the video, I can.
Yeah, I think my phone just doesn't like connecting to it. Just go to the Slumflower. It's the first pinned one on Instagram.
Let me make sure. There's two road.
I can connect to Lauren's MacBook Pro.
Oh, okay.
What if we just actually we should send inspirational speeches to other women.
Yeah, because we're always getting unwanted dicks.
Well, it's funny because the woman upstairs from me, I know she sometimes listens to the podcast, so sometimes I'm like, maybe I should drop an early clip and see her feedback on it.
Nice.
The power comes from dominating.
Remix with the Slumflower.
It's not
okay. So it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So ready?
Yeah. Moving.
And so my work is all about encouraging women to dream beyond being loved by a man. Yes. Because the reality is, if you are in love with yourself and you are living a life that you have chosen and not settled for, the love will inevitably find you, but that love will never in any way compare to the love you already have for yourself.
Chills.
Because you set that foundation.
Yes.
And the love that could come from any man, no matter how amazing he is, will only be an external addition to something that already exists internally. And so it's important that through this conversation, hopefully we leave with the opportunity to confront and interrogate the ways that we understand love as it is fed to us today. And it grants us room to also identify the ways that we use love as a way to distract ourselves from seeking personal purpose.
From seeking personal purpose.
Even when you find the partner that you feel is for you, there is always going to be more work to do. And so in the grand scheme of the conversation of women sacrificing too much for love, I do believe that the biggest sacrifice a woman makes for love is the sacrifice of her own self, her own identity, the version of her that she could be outside of making herself malleable for the opportunity to be loved by someone who barely is changing anything about himself in order to be with a woman. And of course, men will always interrupt you. I'm joking.
And the best part of this is that, and she points it out herself, the best part of that is that she gave this incredibly moving speech with a shirt with her titties hanging out.
Her titties were out,
and
yeah.
she was like, this
that.
was so great.
I love it.
So I think there was a couple parts of that, but for me, specifically, I think the part that I wanted to really talk about is that we use love as a distraction from accomplishing things in our personal lives, right? That's not exactly the way she worded it, but pretty much.
Been fed that.
And we've been fed that. Yes, that's the other part. And so I think so often, and I mean, I was even just like watching a clip of Alfred, an old vintage clip of Sir Alfred Hitchcock, not my dog, but it's film director.
I thought you were talking about your dog.
No, accepting, I guess it was like, I don't know if it was a regular Academy Award or one of those. It was like a fancy dinner ones with, lifetime achievement types ones. And he gives this really beautiful speech and he's like, I want to thank 4 people. And then, spoiler alert, the 4 people are actually these 4 different really significant roles that his wife has played. And his wife was not someone who stayed at home.
Feminist.
His wife was a extremely accomplished screenwriter and editor. And then he also attributes her to being like a wonderful cook and then, raising their child. Right. And so she, was a part of the industry, but even seeing that, and, he says, I want to share this award with her equally. And I love that. And of course, for the time period that they lived in, that was pretty groundbreaking, but it is still, it's like, so why don't we know, why am I sitting here in 2024 talking about Alfred Hitchcock's wife? Why is her name, not every fucking person knows Alfred Hitchcock. We don't know his wife's name. I can't even actually remember it right now.
Yeah, I don't know his wife.
Right?
I certainly don't know.
And so, yes, it's lovely that he's sharing the award with her, but if we're talking about like who gets these accolades, who gets the respect of society, whose memory lives on. It's not Alfred Hitchcock's wife's memory lives on with her, right? And so it's like, with him, but not in society to only those who knew her directly. Whereas Alfred Hitchcock, never met that guy. I went to his fucking apartment in England. That's how much I love him. Why I name my dog after him? And again, groundbreaking for the time, but still, so it's like, I think we have been tricked into thinking, and we've talked about this a little bit before conceptually, but that like love and finding a man and gaining the love of a man, that even silly coming out of my mouth, is such an achievement that we don't even need to achieve anything in our personal lives. We've already achieved it if we found a husband. And I just
probably subconsciously stunts a lot of women.
Yeah, and I just see so many women supporting men through these amazing achievements. And I go, that is lovely. And yes, of course, that is part of partnership. But why didn't you personally achieve any of these things? Like, you obviously had it in you. And there must be this fear in us that's like, oh, it's easier to support a man, and he can be the kind of face of our couple, even though I'm putting in most likely probably the harder work. I'm not doing the fun work. I'm doing the harder work.
Yeah, raising kid and
helping him emotionally and supporting him and being there for him during these pitfalls. Yeah. I just think that we don't even realize how much we're robbing ourselves as far as the personal achievements.
It's so interesting too. I'm thinking of now, like, all the sex workers that I have talked to, they'll say they'll drop a client, meaning they won't no longer work with that client if and I've had this conversation with so many sex workers, like, yeah, I stopped working with this guy. Oh my God, did he do something wrong? He just wanted to talk to me and dump on me. And I'd way rather just fuck him.
Sure.
And I'm like, wow, that really does speak to what is the atmosphere like in your relationship? Like, it's a really good thing to interrogate from time to time.
And what's the burden to women? It's actually not you needing to fuck all the time.
Yeah.
You've tricked yourselves, or maybe you haven't.
Fucking's easy.
You know what? Actually, men are very smart. They haven't tricked themselves into anything. They know exactly what they're doing. I'm like tired of this conversation about men being stupid. Is men go along with it because they've weaponized it.
Yeah.
Because it's more convenient if we think they're stupid. You're not stupid. You're very fucking smart. You've built the entire world, and I'm fucking on to you. Okay.
Oh, you think you'd be a boy?
I'm fucking on to you.
Corinne's got you paid.
Yeah,
bitch.
no, but I love Slumflower. There's very, there's very few people that I really like see on the internet that go, wow, that person is doing some groundbreaking work, thinking about things in a way that I love that can make me a better person. I fucking love the Slumflower.
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah, she's fucking fantastic.
Incredible. And I'm so glad she gave that speech with her titties out. I love it.
You know who else loves
dropping
titties
points.
out?
Yeah, well, yeah, our guest.
Our fucking guest.
Yes.
We've had a lot of stand-up comedians on, guys. But when we say this guy is a legend, this
stand-up
man,
comedian.
This man is think of your favorite stand-up comedian right now. Guarantee you our guest is probably your favorite stand-up comedian's favorite stand-up comedian. He's a comics comic. He is a legend in his own right. He's such a legend.
He's also the number one person on my to-do list, which is
that's a tough list to get on.
Is a list I made when I was a teen, but we'll say legal. I can't really actually remember.
She was 18, guys, shut up.
I might have been 16, but for
whatever.
the purposes of legality, let's say 18. I made a to-do list, and yes, it was a list of men I wanted to fuck. And Dave Attell has been for now years and decades number one.
Number one. Fucking one.
Yes.
His new special, Hot Cross Buns, is out March 26th on Netflix. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to Dave Attell.